far as church stuff goes this week, we had our prayer service last Sunday. Wonderful time getting together and making sure that prayer, seeking the Lord, depending on the Lord, and allowing the Lord to change us in prayer is a foundation of everything that we are, why we even exist as Harvest Church. One of the key things that we prayed over is the Leadership Council, the establishment of something that maybe some of you are unfamiliar with. It's a different style of leadership than even I've been a part of in the past. It's an experiment in plurality and collaboration and accountability at the very top level of leadership. Led by Ryan Griffith, a lay member of the Leadership Council, Daniel Alvarez, the professor, as a lay pastor in the Leadership Council. He's going to continue to hold his full-time job as a professor outside of the church and also serve in a pastoral capacity in executive leadership, in overseeing small groups and discipleship and pastoral care. And then myself as a staff pastor with the responsibilities of preaching and teaching, community engagement, and team leadership and leader and elder care. And so that's one of the things that we've been praying about. And over the next few weeks and months, we're going to have the Nexus Church Planning Entity come alongside of us, not in an authoritative way, but in a supportive, accountability, informed way. These are people and counsel and even a team that's going to come alongside of us with accountability and support and training and coaching and leader care that's going to make sure we know what we're doing because they know what they're doing in planting healthy, thriving churches. And we are so thankful for that, and we'll continue to share updates as that develops. We also talked about the launching of small groups, Harvest Church small groups, where discipleship and fellowship and becoming a church body, a church family together gets real for all of us, not in programs, but in relationships. So more information about the small groups that are launching in this week's email. Finally, at the prayer service, we announced that the next all kind of church gathering will be a preview service, Sunday, May 17th, again at 4:30 p.m. at Ridgeline Middle School. We call it a preview service because as we were exploring what the content of that meeting would be among the Leadership Council, the guys, Ryan and Daniel, said, well, hey, if we're pursuing a service maybe with worship this time in a children's program, why don't we fill it out with a sermon and make it kind of a full preview service of what services might be like? It's a work in progress, but let's get to work on it. Let's see what services might be like. So a preview service coming up on Sunday, May 17th at 4:30. All right, picking up Daniel for this week's content. Daniel chapter 7 is where things get a little lost for people. This is where maybe there's a split between two different parts of the book of Daniel. Because in chapter 7, we're actually going back chronologically before the events of chapters 5 and 6. This goes back in shadows or covers content that was first explored. It kind of layers content that was explored in chapter 2, chapter 2, verses 31 through 45. And so again, there's this layering, there's this reviewing or taking another look at the events that happened in history as recorded in chapter 2, again, layering here in chapter 7. So what's the point of going over it again? What's the point of retelling it? One of the things I really benefited from some time ago when I went through a study of the book of Revelation in apocalyptic literature is the way that apocalyptic literature uniquely, as only it can, reveals things in a bold, stark, vivid way, intending to reach God's people with his message in a new way. It's like a really loud yell right in the middle of a message. It's supposed to kind of get your attention in a way that's different from all the surrounding content. It adds punch. Apocalyptic literature goes deep. And in this case, the message is intended to grab God's people. You've seen before through the narrative of Daniel that God's in control of leaders and eras and kingdoms. And here it is again in a new way saying, God is in control. all of history is under his purview in a way that's not merely predictive or foretelling, in a way that is under his control. So much that from the God that stands outside of time and stands unthreatened, that the wicked efforts and eras of the beast of the world, that be wayward nations, Babylon, Medes and Persians, and so on. And this God proclaims, I know what these nations are trying to do. I know the ways they view themselves. I know the ways they view their own power. I know the ways they view the world. And they need to know, my people need to know, I am in control. I will allow the things I will allow for the expansion of my purposes and my kingdom. So to my people that are right in the midst of all that, to my people that are right in the midst of those eras and kingdoms, and it seems like God's will is not prevailing, I am in control. And you are my people. Man, we need to hear that, don't we? I know I need to hear that. Again, in a way that's not just predictive or foretelling over history, but is in control. History is under the reign of the king that stands outside of it. He says to his people then and now in a bold way through apocalyptic literature, I am in control. And you're my people. So let's get to reading. Chapter 7, verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon. So again, this is going back. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel saw a dream and visions of his head as he lay in his bed. Then he wrote down the dream and told the sum of the matter. Daniel declared, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea, and four great beasts came up out of the sea, different from one another. These four beasts are going to represent four nations, four forces that are going to rise up. The first, as we're about to read about in verse 4, that'd be Babylon. And that'd be King Nebuchadnezzar, echoing the story we found first in Daniel chapter 4. So if you're following along in your Bibles, verse 4 that we're about to read, you can make a note. That's Babylon. The first beast was like a lion and had eagle's wings. And then I looked, and its wings were plucked off, and it was lifted up from the ground and made to stand on 2 feet like a man. And the mind of a man was given to it. So then the second beast comes, and we're going to read about the second beast is the empire that comes and conquers Babylon. That'd be the Medes and the Persians. And as we've encountered throughout this book of Daniel, that would be the reign of Cyrus and Darius or Darius. Verse 5, and behold, another beast, the Medes and Persians. You can make a note in your Bibles there. A second one, like a bear, was raised up on one side. It had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth, and it was told, arise and devour much flesh. Now the third beast that's about to be mentioned in verse 6 here, that'd be the Greeks. Historically, the Greeks come next. Alexander the Great. Verse 6, after this I looked, and behold, another, like a leopard, with 4 wings of a bird on its back. And the beast had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. And finally, the fourth beast. And this fourth beast is going to be unlike all the others in terror, in might, in strength, unparalleled in scope and power and ruthlessness. Verse 7, after this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, terrifying and dreadful and exceedingly strong. It had great iron teeth. It devoured and broke in pieces and stamped what was left with its feet. It was different from all the other beasts that came before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another horn, a little one, before which 3 of the first horns were plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. That would be the empire of Rome. unparalleled, unprecedented in its power and its ruthlessness. The four beasts of Daniel's vision. And just after setting the scene for Daniel's vision like this, we're going to stop for this week. We're going to stop right there. For one, because the next section that we're going to cover underscores a mega theme that we don't have time to explore in this video, and I want to devote an entire week to exploring this mega theme that's coming up. For one, because many people don't pay attention to it and give it enough credit, and that is what we're going to dive into next time. But also because I want to lock in this message. I want us to focus on this message for this week, the nature of apocalyptic literature. What is it that this kind of retelling or overlaying over history is supposed to do for God's people? I mean, it's one thing for God to tell his people, I'm in control, here's what's going to happen, so that we can see that history lines out according to God's plan. It's his story. But it's another for apocalyptic literature to hit it in a way that is bold, to hit it in a way that like yells and draws attention to it. It's like a music underscoring through a major theme. Do we actually hear it? Do we actually see God's in control? Are you hearing that? Are you seeing that? There's a great movie that I love. It's an older movie called Good Will Hunting. A couple of main characters in it is Robin Williams. His character's name is Sean, and Matt Damon, his character's name is Will. And there's this one part of the movie where Sean, Robin Williams' character, is trying to get Will to understand that the situations, the things that have happened in his past, they're not his fault. And so as Sean and Will are talking in this key scene, Sean tells Will, looks him in the eyes and says, Will, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. And he keeps doing this over and over. And there's the progression where first Will is hearing Sean and he says, yeah, I know. It's not your fault. Okay, yeah. It's not your fault. I know. It's not your fault. And he keeps going over and over and over. He keeps telling Will, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And eventually you can see Will as this message just repeats over and over and over until Will finally hears it. Eventually it gets through past his ears, past just his mind, and into his heart. It's not your fault. I wonder if it's the same thing here. No, I know it's the same thing here. God is in control, and you are his people. God is in control, and you are his people. God is in control, and you are his people. God is in control, and you are his people. God is in control, and you are his people. God is in control, and you are his people. Can you hear that? Can you see that in a way that really goes past your ears, past your mind, into your soul? God is in control.